Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Ellen here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 9 of What If Saitama Was in MHA. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin. It was the middle of the UA Sports Festival and the hero Ingenium was doing his routine rounds around the city of Hosu. He passed by a TV screen playing in a store and saw the live footage playing. A kid named Izuku Midoriya had won his match against a kid named Child Emperor. Ingenium wished that he could watch his brother Tenya Ida in the sports festival, but he had a job to do. It was broad daylight, but the shadows of alleyways imitated the night. Unbeknownst to the turbo hero was someone watching him from the darkness. His figure was slouched, like a fox ready to pounce on its prey. His very being screamed danger as he was covered in various spikes and weapons. A single mask over his eyes was all he used to conceal his identity. He was Stain, the hero killer. He held a phone in his grip and played an audio clip. Placing the phone on the ground, Stain took position behind a stack of boxes. The sound of a baby crying echoed throughout the empty alleyway. No hero could ignore the sound of a helpless child, and just as expected, Ingenium appeared to save the day. Stain took his time before attacking. Ingenium was fast, much faster than he was. If he jumped out too early, then he'd escape. If he jumped out too late, then the hero could retaliate. The hero bent down and picked up the phone in confusion. Once he paused the audio, Stain prepared to attack, but there was an unexpected variable. Fists of flowing water, crushing rock! A flurry of fists flew at Ingenium, and the ambushed hero narrowly dodged the attack, but he fell back into a pile of boxes. Stain quickly embedded his katana into the fallen hero and licked the blood on the blade. Ingenium used every fiber of his being to try and move, but it was no use. Stain's quirk, Blood Curdle, caused him to be completely paralyzed. Stain turned his head to see who had attempted to steal his target. It was a young man with yellow eyes and silver hair spiked upward like wolf ears. He wore a black long-sleeved shirt and loose-fitting pants. The man looked at Stain with caution. Stain readied his weapon and demanded, "Who are you?" The man readied himself into some sort of martial arts fighting position and replied, "You tell me who you are first." Stain wasn't a very patient person, and this stranger was wasting his time. The hero killer pulled out a throwing knife and purposefully missed. The man's eyes watched as the blade flew past him, and Stain took the moment of distraction to plunge his blade into his stomach. Quick as lightning, the man used Stain's momentum against him by grabbing his wrist and maneuvering the hero killer past himself. The man moved as fluidly as a river, but he seemed to have more tricks up his sleeve. He changed up his stance, and before Stain could comprehend what was doing, he called out, "Ingenium speed!" The man suddenly was jumping wildly from wall to wall with such speed and agility that it was like Ingenium himself was performing the moves, but the hero was paralyzed at the end of the alleyway. Stain could only watch as the man practically danced around him. All the hero killer could do was focus his senses and wait for an opening. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up, and Stain drove his blade to the space to his left. With a shout, the man fell to the ground and promptly pulled the knife out from his arm. He seethed out, "Countermeasure, knife proficiency!" Stain let out a confused, "Huh?" before the stranger suddenly began rushing him with his newly wielded knife. He attacked with such precise and sporadic movements that Stain could quickly identify them as his own. The stranger was stealing his fighting style. Stain quickly retaliated with his own knives, and the two attempted and failed at subduing the other. Several minutes had passed, and Ingenium began to start feeling his body's ability to move return back to him. He realized quickly that he should keep his mouth shut and attempt to escape while the two villains fought. He pushed himself up and prevented himself from groaning in pain. The villains were blocking the path out towards the streets, so he'd have to escape upwards. Ingenium jumped up, propelled by the engines in his arms, and kicked off of a wall to push himself over the top of the building. Once out of the alleyway, he booked it. Stain, and for some reason the stranger, was hot on the hero's trail. Enraged, Stain yelled out, "Stop getting in my way, wolf hair! Don't trash talk me unless you want to die!" The stranger yelled back. Still wielding Stain's knife, the man yelled out, "Snipe accuracy!" After yelling out those words, the man threw his knife directly into the back of Ingenium's exposed skull, his helmet already being lost back in the original alleyway. The hero fell into another alleyway, and the two villains jumped down as well. Stain scoffed as he nudged Ingenium's unconscious body with his foot. "Who exactly are you?" The man finally revealed who he was. "I'm Garo, the hero hunter." Stain was unimpressed and introduced himself as well.
I'm Stain, the hero killer.
Garo laughed.
The hero killer? You? You almost let the small fry escape!
Stain retaliated.
At least people heard of me. I have no idea who you even are.
Garo crouched down next to Ingenium's body and removed the knife from his head.
Yeah, 'cause you kept getting credit for my takedowns. I don't kill heroes, I just take down the small fries and teach them a lesson about their biased sense of justice.
Stain smiled.
Maybe we have more in common than we thought. Well, are you gonna kill this one?
Garo gestured towards the hero's body. Stain shook his head.
Nah, this one was just to send a message. Can you believe how rich the Ida family is? Could have used that money to help out a lot of people.
Garo laughed.
That's what I'm saying! Why do heroes get paid so much anyway? Most of them are just in it for the paycheck.
Stain then realized that he and Garo were much more alike than originally thought, so he suggested,
why don't we team up? Alone, we could only really take down A-class heroes at most. Together, I think we could start taking down those S-class fakes. Maybe even the top 10.
A wicked smile grew across Garo's face.
I'm in.
Stain then followed up.
What's your quirk? Mine is blood curdle. Lets me paralyze people whose blood I've consumed.
That's disgusting, Garo commented.
Don't you get worried about diseases or something? Just answer the question. Fine. My quirk is called countermeasure. I can copy the fighting style of anyone I fight against as long as it's within the reasonable capacity for my body to reproduce. For example, I can copy your ability to handle weapons without having to do the training for myself. My instincts just know what to do. I can also copy someone like Ingenium's ability to be very agile, but I can't just sprout engines out of my body. If I copy Endeavor's fighting style, I can fight aggressively like him, but I can't copy his Hellflame quirk. I copy the fighting style, not the quirk. Got it?
Stain nodded. With both of their quirks combined, they definitely could take down much stronger heroes. They'd be impossible to take down. The two quickly evacuated the scene of the crime, leaving Ingenium to be found by a civilian. This video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN allows you to change your IP address, making it harder to track and securing your privacy. In addition to providing safe passage through the web, you can also expand the reach of your favorite streaming services like Disney+. If you are from the United States, you won't be able to watch any of the MCU and Sony Spider-Man movies, but by switching your location to Japan, you can access them whenever you want. Check out the link in the description to get 3 extra months when you purchase the 12-month subscription plan that costs $99.99 a year. This deal is for a limited time. And thanks to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. Back at the sports festival, Midoriya walked out into the arena once again to face his next opponent, Momo Yaoyorozu. Once the countdown was over, the fight began. In all honesty, the end was very anticlimactic. The residual ringing of Saitama's "Go" still hung in the air as an exasperated Yaoyorozu stood outside the arena boundary line. The crowd had no idea what to make of the scene. Not even the most trained heroes were able to process the speed of the battle.
What? What just happened? Momo Yaoyorozu has been eliminated!
The scene wasn't as shocking to Saitama, as he saw every detail of the fight play out in front of him. He saw how Midoriya dashed faster than the world around him could react. He saw how the freckled teen gently picked up his opponent despite the immense speed and placed her back down on the ground outside the boundary line. She was moving so fast she probably couldn't process the fact she'd even moved. By the look of Yaoyorozu's face, to her, it seemed like the battleground moved beneath her feet instead of her own body being transferred. Midoriya stood within the outer edge of the boundary line as Yaoyorozu looked down at her feet. They stood face to face, yet separated by a single white line. The words "eliminated" echoed through the stadium as the crowd began cheering. Tears began welling up in her eyes, and Midoriya caught on to this. She wiped away a stray tear, and Midoriya began to walk with her off the stage. Once they were out of the crowd's prying eyes, he turned to her. "Hey, Yaoyorozu, you're an amazing student, and you're going to make an amazing hero. You're the smartest one in our class, and you have a very powerful quirk, but you're not defined by your successes or failures." Yaoyorozu sniffled as her tears began to clear. "I don't know much about you, but I do consider you a friend, and as your friend, I want you to know that you have so much depth beyond the limits you're setting on yourself. You can do so much, and every hero out here today has seen you shine in the events. Don't let your pride or insecurities hold you back, because you have a heart of a hero in there, and I'd hate to see you snuff out that flame because of today." After taking a moment to regain her composure, she replied, "Thank you, Midoriya, really. I'm just used to always excelling, always being number one. I've never really experienced failure before, and the second it happened, I just shut down. Thank you for talking to me. I needed it." Midoriya had a unique perspective on heroism. His entire life, he worked and worked just for the opportunity to be a hero. Many others, however, had heroism built into their biology. Some even had heroism in their family. Being a hero wasn't just a casual career path for Midoriya to take. He worked hard. That's not to discount the work that others have done to get into UA, but they had a quirk, and Midoriya had less than nothing. No quirk, and people actively trying to discourage him. In a way, he was the opposite of Yaoyorozu. She was rich, had one of the strongest quirks he had ever seen, and had supporting parents. He was lower middle class, quirkless, and had a mother who felt sorry for him. But despite all the barriers that separated them, they both want to become a hero. Ever since he started working with Saitama, his views on heroism had changed. He once saw it in its idolized form that every hero has it inherently. But that's not the case. Many heroes were in it for the money and fame, and now he can see it clear as day. All of his friends had the heart of a hero inside them. Some heroes on the news didn't, but that's how the world is. All Midoriya could do was try to be the best hero he could be. And try as he did, as his next match against Ibara Shiozaki from Class 1B ended in a quick victory. And so, Midoriya had secured his spot on the podium, whether it is first or second place. He was guaranteed to win a medal. And the opponent that would determine his placement was one that he hoped to not have to fight against again. It was Deku! Right on cue, Bakugo barged into Midoriya's waiting room with explosions already sparking in his hands. He kicked over the table in an act of intimidation, and he started to speak.
"I don't know what kind of trick you've been pulling, but I am not falling for it. You were just a quirkless nobody a year ago, and now you're up in the tournament ranks? I will make sure everybody knows how much of a useless Deku you are after I wipe the floor with you."
Midoriya looked at Bakugo with complete neutrality as he replied, "Okay." Bakugo left the waiting room, and after several minutes of waiting, it was time for the match to start. The two opponents stared each other down like an unspoken staring contest was taking place. Every noise seemed to be drowned out except the sound of the match's countdown. As the sounds of a 3, 2, 1 passed, the match went underway with an explosive start. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank our patrons, BD Flames, Ethan Davis, Terry Chills, Shifter Miles, Adam Zagel, XAV Beto 3, Zill, and Joshua Phelps. I would also like to thank all of our YouTube members, Toy Acosta, Rob the King, Sith Lord 906, CF2364, and Knuckles, Remuo Tempest, Angel Juarez, Donald C. Stewart, Bryant Grier, and Rafik 135. Secondly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has got you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Thirdly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I'd like to extend you an invitation to join the team, the only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for new members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day.